That's not to say that our brains cannot be shaped by learning and experience. They indeed are, and most of us have some potential to improve our mental functioning a bit. But the idea that there's only 10% of it used is just a myth that has been around for about 50 years.
Tony Quinn seminars are not publicly advertised. Instead, potential clients are told about the courses through their other contact with Quinn's organisation, be it his gyms, shops or local courses. It's through these outlets that many prospective clients have initial contact with the Quinn organisation. Now, after the break, we hear more about the Quinn organisation, as well as more personal testimonies.
Margaret Ann Mulder. She's so beautiful. Would you like to go visit you?
Welcome back. Tony Quinn health products and shops are found all over the country. But what of the man himself? He doesn't reside in Ireland, but he does have a home in Malahide. He has residences in the Bahamas and Malibu, as well as various other exotic locations. His business interests are registered offshore in Jersey, and he's rarely seen in public. In the next part of the programme, we discover more about the man himself, as well as analysing some of the other elements which contribute to his burgeoning business empire. This couple also bought into the Quinn experience. She saw ads for Quinn's Irish-based seminars and felt their content could help her with some of her serious phobias. She has a serious fear of flying, but another fear weighs even heavier on her mind and has led to mental stress in the past.
I had a lot of fears around hospitals. I had a couple of operations back in '95, and I really had a fear of hospitals, and fear of being locked up was my biggest fear. And I thought Tony Quinn was going to give me the key. I was told he would give me the key, and not the answers, but just the key to life and how to live it. And I believed that. I believed, that he had something to offer me. I was told that Tony Quinn would be my saviour. But Tony Quinn, to me, I didn't look at him that way. I had only one saviour.
So, you came up with the money, you decided to go. Day of departure, what happened?
Day of departure, I was at the airport, and just approaching the check-in, I had a panic attack. And one of Tony Quinn's people told me just to stay there, to calm down. And when she wasn't looking, I ran out of the airport because I was deliberately missing the flight. But then I rang to say, right, it's gone, and so is the 15,000. And she said to me, look, don't worry about it. Just, I'll link up with you and take you home from the airport. But she found me, as did four others of the Tony Quinn people who work for Tony Quinn. And they were persuading me, that it was okay, that I'd be safe, everything was safe. And in the end, they said to me, because they stayed around me all the time, 5 of them did, and one of them told me to tell the fear to go off.
Eventually, she was convinced to take the flight and found herself in Egypt. However, after only one day of the course, she felt she'd made a mistake and immediately found herself alienated from the group.
Why do you think that they would want to isolate you? Why do they think that maybe they saw you as a troublemaker?
Because I wasn't going along with, I'd said to Tony he was boring. So because I wasn't going along, and I did find him boring, it's just that I wasn't going along with their seminar. I wasn't fitting into the way they thought it should go. Because in my mind, I was overwhelmed by the fear of flying back.
Her mental condition began to deteriorate due to her anxiety over the return flight and her feeling of isolation from home.
We didn't know where in Egypt she was other than in Cairo. We had no phone, no phone numbers to contact her. So I couldn't contact her, she couldn't contact me. And I tried then to contact the people who ran it from here, from Ireland. And I got one unmerciful runaround between the people on Eccles Street, a woman called. They were assuring me that she was fine. But they couldn't tell me any more than that, and they couldn't answer why I couldn't contact her. I just got the runaround. That was from Thursday right through till Saturday when I got a call from this woman. I think it was a Saturday, the following Saturday, to say she was on her way out too, and she was going to bring her home.
Came over. She'd never explained to me she was there to fly me back home to be with me. So at the airport I got very panicky again. I had a huge panic attack. But it's not my first panic attack. So before I knew what was going on, there was this white van with a person inside that I later learned it was a doctor. They were taking me to a home, to a mental home. And I didn't know this until I got there. So what they did to me was they locked me up for 3.5 days in a mental home. My biggest fear realised, and I was terrified.
Eventually, arrangements were made to return to Dublin before the rest of the group.
My worst fears were confirmed when at Dublin Airport when this flight came in, and I was literally handed. I couldn't believe. I was totally shocked at the state of her. She looked like she'd lost a lot of weight, was very gaunt, was very disorientated, and was very, very sedated. And I was just, I was in shock when I saw her. But this woman and this other woman who identified herself, I can't remember her name, but identified herself as Tony Quinn's business manager in Ireland, she put out her hand. I had never met her before, and gave me a very limp handshake and said, if there's anything we can do, don't hesitate to contact us. And they just disappeared.
While this woman does not blame the Quinn organisation for her mental state, she still remains incredulous as to how she was treated. 2020 asked Martin Ford for an explanation of events.
Now, that woman actually ended up in an institution in Cairo for 3.5 days. Her story is actually quite shocking. Why did that happen?
For the very simple reason that our vetting procedure was not complied with, and that was unfortunately not on our part, but on the person's part. Now, again, I don't want to get into an individual's case, right?
What do you mean the vetting procedure wasn't complied with?
Well, what I mean by that is that a person would have to declare a certain level of medical fitness. Now, I don't want to go into this anymore because it could be very embarrassing for the people concerned. The person has to declare a certain level of medical fitness in order to come, and we feel that was not complied with.
Well, she claims she was encouraged and helped onto a plane in Dublin Airport. She had a huge fear of flying and arrived over in Egypt and was very anxious about the flights home.
I feel now
had a panic attack.
Yeah, I feel that we're moving into the area of discussing an individual, and I feel that's not possible for me to do, unfortunately.
Quinn backs up his seminar techniques by continually citing research. He does the same with his numerous products sold over the counter nationwide. Paula Mee of the Irish Nutrition and Dietetic Institute examined 2 of the products, Life Extension Mix and Mind Alert, costing £35 and £20 respectively.
It's a questionable claim, really. I mean, how do you measure life extension? It's very difficult to prove that you're extending somebody's life. So I think that you have to look at the components in the supplement, and something like this mix here contains over and above the recommended dietary allowance for vitamin C and some other vitamins, and therefore it would require a licence. And it would be under the jurisdiction of the Irish Medicines Board.
They're not licensed because they are food supplements and they don't come under medicines licensing. It's an area that I personally have put a lot of study into.
2020 contacted the Irish Medicines Board, who under law are charged with the responsibility of licensing medicines. They confirmed that both the Life Extension Mix and Mind Alert pills